And again. How, you ask? The number one piece of advice I'd give to any beginner starting out in Muay Thai, or any combat sport for that matter, or even anything in life, practice deliberately. The term deliberate practice was coined by Erickson to describe a type of practice which is a highly structured activity, the explicit goal of which is to improve performance. Basically, if you want to get good, or actually good at something, take your time with it and be studious with your approach. You like that word, studious? I'm not even entirely sure what that means. It just sounds good.
Studious.
Training in any combat sport is quite easy to get carried away. There's always a little bit of ego with it.
Son of a bitch.
Everyone wants to be able to hit hard, especially blokes, and think of themselves as powerful.
I'll show you tough. I'll show you tough.
Throwing punches or kicks as hard as you possibly can instead of focusing on the technique of it can be pretty common practice in any Muay Thai gym.
I never lose.
I absolutely get that some people just want to do happy pads. After all, hitting pads is going to get you a good sweat on and you're going to feel like you've done a good workout. There's people out there that don't actually give a shit about being good at martial art, which is cool. You people carry on, punch and kick some stuff and have a good old time.
You're a bunch of dossers.
But if you actually want to be legitimately good, the best piece of advice you can get is take your time. It's why I'll often hear the Thai coaches say to their students, sabai sabai, which means relax.
Sabai sabai.
My conveyor belt for progression with a student is first starting off stationary, no movement, and just going over the fine details of the technique. Whether this be with punching or kicks. Get used to having a good stance, a good base, and throwing the move correctly. This could be on the pads, on the bag, or even just shadow boxing. The next stage will be to add some movement. Moving forwards, moving backwards, moving to the left, moving to the right, maybe even a cheeky little pivot. This is when you'll usually start to see a little bit of regression. Because once you add movement into it, which throws off the range and the distance, a student's technique can become undone a little bit. That's why it's important to go back and forth between stationary and movement until you get really comfortable with it. In a class environment, when people get left to their own devices, this is when a lot of the bad habits can creep in. If your coach isn't on top of you, then it's up to you to take accountability for your own training. Now, I don't think you should be a Padman Nazi, especially if you're relatively new yourself. But it will be upon you to maybe ask them for a little bit of feedback. Is my hand coming back to my face? Am I leaning in on the shot? If it doesn't just quite feel right, other than it just being like a big fat smack and feeling real powerful.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
That isn't always a good indicator if you're doing it properly. In a class environment, a coach can't cater to individuals, so it's important that you do take some ownership over what you're doing. That is if you want to get good. Once you've started to get the technique down with the movement, then the next step of the conveyor belt will be to maybe add some defense and counters. Maybe throwing a jab, slipping, and then countering with the right hand. It's getting used to throwing a technique and then having something come back to you, which is going to make sure that you're on balance.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. What?
You have to be on balance in order to defend yourself correctly. This is an important piece of the jigsaw puzzle. This is when we can see some regression, so it's important to go back to step 2, just being stationary with the technique and fine-tuning it once again. I will do this with world-class athletes fighting at the highest level. I'll take them back and go over something again, then go stationary. This isn't just for beginners, it's for everyone. So you shouldn't feel any less of yourself for having to do that. It's a normal part of the process, and that's how you create really, really good, efficient fighters.
Headshot, bang, done.
Once you've got a technique down on the pads with a bit of movement, you know how to defend yourself after you've thrown it, then you're ready for a live situational drill, like jab or kick only sparring. Then the final piece of the puzzle will be in a live sparring situation, when all techniques are permitted and you're against an uncooperative opponent who's not letting you do what you want to do. If you can pull it off with timing and good technique in a live sparring situation against someone that ain't letting you do it, that's it, baby. Mission accomplished.
60 G's, baby!
You have the technique and it is ready for competition.
I don't have to fight your whole body. I just have to fight your left knee. If I can break your left knee, the rest of your body is irrelevant to me.
The amount of time it takes to learn this is different for everyone. If you really want to get good at something, practice deliberately and hold yourself accountable. In another video I made titled Be Like Bukaw, kind of going over the same principle. Have a standard, kick like Bukaw. Try and get your kick to look anything like Bukaw's and you can't go too far wrong. I hope this video was of some benefit to you and there was something to take away from it. If it was, leave me a comment below. If there's any particular piece of advice you want to give, leave it down there. I like this pro striking page to feel like a community where we can all provide a bit of value to each other and progress in our combat sports journey. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. As always, pro striking out, and I'll catch you later.
If I can break your left knee, the rest of your body is irrelevant to me.